I found myself again. Sometimes when I'm sitting down to do Flash, I just like think of a random anything and then it becomes a design. And that's exactly what this was. This was the first iteration of trying to figure out a font. There's nothing there that isn't here. This is a line from a poem that I wrote. I like that it's a little boxy, a little geometric. Very different from what I used to do. There's always enough. This was part 2 of what's my font gonna be? How is the process gonna go? I work in Photoshop exclusively, so kind of just pressing buttons and seeing, oh, this is cool. Teach a man to fish and I'll be fooled for the rest of my life. This is a misquote from BoJack. The actual quote is, teach a man to fool me and I'll be fooled for the rest of my life. If you like BoJack, please comment a horse emoji. I hear my name in the whistle of the wind. I think this is from the same poem that the other one was from. This is just a little distortion, a little silly little thing. I'll come back to Earth later. You guessed it, from the same poem. Now we're getting into like, okay, like this is something. Like this is closer to like a font for me. Eventually, these old pieces of me will end up one half buried in my heart, the other half a tombstone. Also from a poem that I wrote. I wanted to see what it looked like with a longer quote. Tattoos tend to be more vertical because the body is longer than it is wide. So I think we're getting somewhere with this one. I think it's really cute. I ran so far ahead, I ended up last. Classic little quote, little reference. I tore the calluses off my hands so I could stay soft. Yes, from another poem that I wrote. This is why I prefer Flash, and I don't really like to do customs. Sometimes I'll get a request for a really cool quote and I'm like, okay, that's cool. But more often than not, I would rather just do Flash because most of my Flash is from my poems. I promise to stay curious. If my Flash doesn't come from poems, it comes from Hopecore, and this was like Hopecore adjacent. This used the same process for the font. You can see like the little dots in there, but then I also did a little liquefy, a little distortion, and I think it came out pretty cute altogether.